Hey, welcome back, Big Orange friends. Thanks for joining us again today. We're going to dive into this big Ohio State matchup. Seems like it's forever getting here.
Yeah.
Been waiting for the playoffs in general,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly since it went 12 games, we've just assumed that we had a very good chance to get in.
Right.
Didn't get a home game or anything like that, but we got probably the best matchup of the first week against
Toughest matchup.
toughest matchup of the
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, some people think it's the most talented roster in college football.
Yeah, I agree. Quickly, guys, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. We appreciate that. We are getting close to 1,000, and that's the threshold to start getting a little bit of money to pay for all this equipment we bought to start doing this. So if y'all could help us out there and hit that subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate it. But yes, Ohio State, Tim, going into the season, I thought they was the most talented team in the country, and that was my preseason number one. And I'll admit I was a little bit wrong on that. They are a good team,
Well,
but I think they was the most talented.
and they may still be the most talented
Yeah.
team. But uh, as someone who was never on the Ryan Day train, it seems like a lot of Ohio State fans have caught up with me.
Right.
Tell you what, the guys, we've uncovered a couple little things that I think we're going to talk about tonight that I've not seen anywhere else. So
Yeah, one of them very
good.
interesting to me. I think it's maybe one of the most vital things to this game. But go ahead, Tim.
Um, well, we'll dive into that first, and we'll probably at the end of the video talk a little bit about the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
It's constantly fluid situation, changes constantly.
Yeah, could change after we
So,
shoot this video.
Yeah, definitely before we get it actually online.
Yeah.
But let's start with Ohio State, Bob. They, you look at these two teams, a lot of similarities. I think most people right off the bat point out similarities between the defenses.
Yeah. I mean, very good teams, but the whole Ohio State thing, they're a very good defense, number one. I've heard a lot of Tennessee fans say that, oh, we can run all over them. I don't think we can do that. Statistically, they're top 5 in the country against the run. Very good defense in general. Now I will admit, the reason why a lot of people think we can is because of the Iowa game last year. We supposed to have a great defense, and we was able to do pretty
historically,
good.
we match up against the Big Ten teams in the bowl games.
Well,
they generally do have good statistical defenses, and then they lose.
Well, I mean, just to go with that, Tim, just popped in my head. I believe Ohio State's record against the SEC in their last 15 games is 1-14.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, if it's off by something, you ain't off by much.
I'm pretty sure I saw that here just recently. They have not done
It's
well.
Definitely lopsided.
Yeah, they had a horrible streak going. But yeah, they got a really good defense. Offensively, I mean, and I'll just go ahead and say, I think their weakness on their defense, though, is corners. Really tough everywhere else, though. Great at safety, really good linebackers. The defensive line's really good, especially their defensive ends. Offensively, great wide receivers, best wide receiver core in the country. Maybe the best tandem of running backs in the country as well.
Well, Henderson and Judkins, two of the biggest names out there coming into the year, and but you know what? They haven't ran the ball as well as expected, and we could probably put it on that offensive line.
That is their weakness on the offense. They had a Remington finalist.
Yeah, their offensive center,
Transferred from Alabama, got hurt a few games back, and then probably their best lineman,
their left
tackle got hurt, so they moved one of their guards out to tackle, which I can't really, even though they haven't given up a lot of sacks.
No, they don't.
I would be surprised if that wasn't a pretty huge downgrade there still, even though they felt pretty good about their tackles now anyway. But that center guard spot to me is a real major weakness for them now, and it showed up in that Michigan game. That's one reason why they really struggled in that game. Michigan was able they had really good defensive tackles, and they was able to control that game a little bit.
Oh yeah, they ate up the interior of the Ohio State line,
Mhm.
and Ryan Day was too stubborn in wanting to prove that he was playing big boy football, and he kept attacking it over and over and over
Right.
again.
I think Ryan Day had pulled a Johnny Majors versus Alabama thing going on there. I think that was his deal. I think he gets puckered up a little too much when they play him.
It probably does. Um, Bob, I want to jump back over that defensive side, though. You know, everybody's talked about, you mentioned the talent they got up
Right.
and we're going to bring up one thing we found that we thought was interesting. I'd have to say, the corners are the weakness of their defense.
Right.
Not saying they're weak, but probably best starting 11 in the country uh, as far as on defense.
Right.
But I think we found that it's really just their starting 11. They play almost no backups in big games. The Penn State's, Michigan's, Oregon's, Nebraska, that was a close game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Zero people coming off the bench almost. You got some of those numbers.
Yeah, it could be a huge factor in this game, Tim. When they play the big time boys, we pulled up the snap counts.
And some of these snap counts are kind of lower because they play such a slow down version up there, particularly when some of these lower ranked Big Ten schools were playing Oregon.
Yeah.
They were trying to milk the clock to keep, Oregon, Ohio State, they were trying to milk the clock to try to keep it close.
Yeah.
And if we go tempo,
this could be a huge factor.
This could become a problem. But go ahead, Bob, with these numbers.
Well, let's look at their defensive line, for instance, and that's probably the area that you should be subbing the most.
Normally, yes.
On your team, anywhere on your team's defensive line. They basically playing just 3 defensive tackles. That's it.
And the third one's not getting that many snaps.
Yeah,
Virtually none.
I mean, your top 2, Hamilton and Williams, they're mid to upper 50s in the snaps.
What games were this?
Michigan and the Oregon game.
Okay. Well, they played some people when they blow people out.
Right. In the lower games, they play their subs some, but when they play their big time games, they pucker up and they play starters almost exclusively on defense. They had one other defensive tackle that played McDonald. He got 12 snaps and 13 snaps in the Michigan Oregon game. Not much. I would have thought if they was just going to play the 3 different tackles, that third would have got a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Their defensive ends, very similar situation. Them two in the 50s and hitting. Sawyer hit actually 60 against Oregon. The backups, 18 snaps and 7 against Oregon, 12 against Michigan, 3 against Oregon. So not a whole lot there on the defensive ends as well. The linebackers, very similar. Styles and Simon hitting 70 against Michigan, 59 against Oregon.
It's kind of unusual. Both of them had the exact same snap.
I know that was a little weird. What was really crazy was the safeties. They played every single snap in those games. Every snap.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's not repeatable against a team like Tennessee, who, I'd love them for them to try that. If so, late in the second quarter, late in the fourth quarter, we're going to be able to start moving this ball on them. I don't think they can withstand that
pace of play with that ain't getting
because for one, if they keep playing them like that, hopefully, as long as we're playing halfway decent, they're not going to be in the 50s. Hopefully, they're hitting the 70s.
Yeah,
or on upper 70s.
Obviously, we got to make our tempo work. We have to convert first downs, obviously,
right.
And it's going to be difficult to do early in the game against a defense like Ohio State.
Right.
But that said, you're right. We can get those snap numbers up to around 70 or better for those starters, and we'll bust some plays late in the ball game.
Yeah.
Listen, Bob, going back to the Ohio State offense for a moment. Oh, you mentioned those Ohio State receivers.
Right.
In years past, I would have been just going ahead and ducking my head right then and there. This year, and I'm not saying we've got the advantage at this spot, not at all. But we're better equipped to play against these wide receivers with our corners of McCoy and
I think it's a matchup that
Gibson.
a lot of the national people have not
Well,
noticed.
I doubt seriously that they played a better tandem of corners this year.
Most Ohio State fans will be thinking, well, they're playing a mediocre defense in general, and probably not a good secondary because even a lot of the national people still have not given
Come
them
around
credit.
on their defensive
On our-
backfield.
But our corners are very good, so that'll be an interesting matchup right there. They're great wide receivers, probably the best tandem trio in the country. So that will be interesting there. I think that's something we can minimize that advantage we got though. If we can stop the run and lock down those wide receivers as good as we possibly can. But the biggest key to me, Tim, in this is Howard, their quarterback, puts up gigantic numbers. I mean, he looks great.
His numbers, yeah, over 70% completion. His numbers are, I want to say he's in the top 5 nationally in passing efficiency. That's super impressive.
When you look though, he seems to do fantastic when his feet set up. When he has to move a little bit, that's when he throws. When he's off platform, that's when he throws a crazy throw.
And he's had a few of those.
He's had a few. It seems like he throws at least one a game, and we need to take advantage of that when he does. But
which he has. He had 1 or 2 plays a game, but you have to be ready to capitalize on it. And I think we've got the guys at the corners that can do it.
yeah, and I think our defensive line can cause him to be off platform a lot. And that means a lot. I mean, that's, and if I'm going to flip this around, if I'm Ohio State, if I'm wanting to win this game, one of the keys, I think, is to put Nico off platform. They need to try to make him uncomfortable.
Well, we saw how deadly Nico looked last week, or last game against Vanderbilt when they only sent 3 people, and he was able to stand back there.
So, a large part of this game might come down to
maybe who has most sacks.
Yeah, most sacks and most pressures.
Most pressures.
Yeah. I always running the ball. I mean, can we run effectively? Can we stop them and put them in 3rd and long situations? Because honestly, Tim, when I was starting to look at their stats look great. I mean, it's what I expected. I always try to look for them stats that kind of stick out. I don't want to read off 30 different stats here that, is kind of what you figured it'd be. So I look for them stats that's a little unusual.
We found another one of them we'll talk about in just a moment.
Absolutely. There's 2 stats I thought was kind of interesting.
One was the snap counts. As you said a moment ago, we got to convert 3rd downs and everything. And we've hurt ourselves many times this year simply because we put ourselves in a bad situation with the penalty, got us off target, and then we couldn't convert. And honestly, UT's one of the most penalized teams in the country this season. And unfortunately, Ohio State's one of the least penalized teams. But diving into that, we found something that should give all Tennessee fans a little bit better hope on that right there.
Yeah. What it is, Tim, is it seems like the referees in the Southeastern Conference are heavy on the penalties because most of the Southeastern Conference teams are toward the very most penalized teams in the country. Most of the Big Ten teams are the least penalized teams in the country. And I don't feel like that they're just clean.
Yeah, every team in the Big Ten just playing cleaner than every team.
It's just the referees don't call.
Yeah, because every conference has their own set of referees.
Right.
And they all call things just a little differently. Yeah. And so, our ACC's crew's going to call this game. Now, they fall somewhere in the middle.
We know it's more of a middle thing.
Yeah.
So I would think Ohio State will get more penalties than normal, and we might get a little less.
Yes. And we may still wind up being a more penalized team of the 2.
Yeah, but especially since it's on the road.
Yeah. But that said, I don't think there's going to be a disparity like we've seen a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be a more even called ball game, and that's definitely going to be to our advantage.
That is something I think worthy. And if they can get a couple more penalties, we can get a couple less, might be the difference in the game.
It could be because you're talking about extending a drive maybe or stopping a drive.
Yeah.
And points could be at a premium in this game between two such
And,
good defenses.
you know, and to go with that, Tim, just like what we said before, if we can extend another drive that didn't get killed because of penalty,
Putting in
then
snap counts up.
more snap counts for that defense, Ohio State defense, that's going to get wore out.
Mm-hmm.
So that might work together a little bit.
Absolutely. But we haven't talked about this. Let's not take 15 minutes thinking about it, unless you want to.
Right.
We'll have to cut it out for the people watching this. But our prediction for this game?
Man, if you got one off the top of your head, go ahead while I'm thinking this third.
Well, all last week I was telling everybody at work that I thought we were going to lose.
Right.
On the road against a team that's clearly has a talent advantage on us.
Yeah.
However, I'm looking at these snap counts, looking at the penalty situation most likely, and I'm beginning to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's the big orange in me kind of bowling to the top.
Right.
I'm going to go 27-24 to good guys.
All right, Tim, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 24-17 Vols. I think it's a lower scoring game, and if you're looking for some betting advice, I think the over under is around 46. I think it was a couple of days ago. So I think I would go under on that myself.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into the portal news, Bob.
Yeah.
This is constantly changing, and so by the time we get it spoken, it could have changed
Again, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But as far as losing guys, I mean, we've lost some with Cam Selden, Khalisa Keefe as the running backs. We've lost some Nate Spillman, Ethan Leacock, Nimrod and Webb at wide receiver. We've lost Bison Lang, guard. We've lost Jalen Smith, a linebacker. We've lost Jordan Matthews at corner. Now, these some guys in there I hated to see leave. There's a few of them.
right. We did.
I hated to see Selden leave. I think he could have been something.
Selden and Leacock was the two I personally did not want to lose. I think those two guys have a lot of talent, and
Leacock started making a little noise after a horrible freshman year.
Yeah, I really think he was going to do something next year. I mean, no, what? I don't know. But I think he was going to get in there some next year. So,
but the portal giveth and the portal taketh away.
Well, I mean, if you go back and look at it, I think we've won the portal every year.
Every year so far. Agreed, except for that at the Exodus at the very beginning of the Josh Heupel thing.
So currently, we coming in, Wendell Moy is probably the guy I would probably want. He's right up there at the top of one of them I want. He's second team Pac-10 last year. Offensive guard. I think we got a decent shot. He's from actually Nico's hometown, and I think he's got that Polynesian descent. And you got Josh Thompson's offensive guard out of Northwestern. He was highly thought of as well.
Yeah, I heard some good things on him from a couple of Ohio State podcasts that I had seen this week. Good quality offensive lineman from
I think he's coming in next weekend. Thompson is. And you have, I'm not going to try to pronounce the guy's first name, but Suggs, guy of LSU.
Defensive tackle, right?
Mm-hmm. And you also have James Thompson, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about him this week also. Once again, this transfer portal news is constantly changing. There could be massive differences by the hour sometimes on this.
Well, yeah, I agree, Tim. And, just to throw out there, we haven't really heard of nobody coming in. I expect us to go get a wide receiver, maybe two.
Primarily because that's what we're losing.
Right.
4's in the portal. You would think we'll at least try to get one.
I think we'll probably go get a running back now, probably. And I've heard that we're seem to be after possibly getting a corner out of the portal as well. We're at least seem to be contacting a few anyway.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to. I think we're really putting most of our emphasis at both lines of scrimmage, though, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, interior too. I think we're okay. I think we feel good about our tackles.
on offense.
On offense. I think we feel good about our defensive ends. I think we're going to go defensive tackles and center and offensive guard types be most of our portal additions, because that's where we'll be weak at next year.
Good guys, we appreciate you joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our little preview of this Ohio State game. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to mean anything, but I do think those snap counts and the penalty situation, between the different conferences, might be two hidden things that we'll be watching, and might pay off for us this week.
Right.
Bob, do you have anything to add?
Just remember to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us your score prediction in the comment section. We appreciate that, and go Vols.
Go Vols, beat them Buckeyes.
All right.